Hello and welcome back to another video. You join me here today as I leave the village of Dufton. Again, I was here the other day going up Hike Up Nick, and I'm back again today to go up Dufton Pike. Now, the reason I absolutely love Dufton Pike is because of its really unusual shape. And you'll have just seen that actually in the shot that I showed you. It's so steep and like a cone. And when actually you come down from Penrith, Carlisle, you can see it sticking out on the western side of the Northern Pennines. And it really sits sort of quite abruptly in the valley. So I wanted to go through today how Dufton Pike is formed, why it's so unusual, and get some incredible shots from up there because it really is quite spectacular to walk. It's another absolutely beautiful day up here today. Started off a bit so-so, a little bit of rain. There's been a bit of snow further down south today. And then this afternoon, got to about 12 o'clock and it's really just brightened up. I had to go to Penrith this afternoon to drop in a few forms. And I was kind of on my way back and I had my camera in the car and I thought, well, let's head up Dufton Pike because I was reading about it and it's just so interesting. I did actually come up this not too long ago, it's probably only a week ago, but I was absolutely staggered when I got to the top, and you'll see why when we get up there, because it is genuinely mind-blowing when you're stood right on the edge, because it is quite narrow going up to, and obviously from the shape of it being that cone, it's a really surreal feeling to walk. I should probably mention, Dufton Pike is one of the steepest things I've ever been up. Like, it is really steep, and it doesn't last that long, don't get me wrong. You know, the reality is there's about 250 metres of climbing upwards between where you start and sort of where you finish. I'm on about where it starts when you turn off the footpath and it gets steep. So it's only about 20 minutes to the top, but it's a hard 20 minutes, let's put it that way. The only reason I came up the other day was because I came up with a mountain bike because this is a bridle way, and the sort of weather was starting to come in and I thought, I want to head up higher into the fells, and I saw the turn off of Dufton Pike and I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And I did, and I pushed my bike to the top of Dufton Pike, whether you're meant to or not, I don't know, and then rode it back down, and it was scary, if I'm honest. It's not something I'll be repeating anytime soon, let's put it that way. But it was epic. Oh, it's just such a cool looking thing, isn't it? Properly cool. So obviously Dufton Pike, being the shape it is, it has got a very interesting story behind it. Now, Dufton Pike's kind of a throwback to about 450 million years ago, which is a long time ago, when over in the Lake District it was very volcanic and very active, and there was massive cataclysmic explosions a lot of the time. And all of the lava, and specifically sort of really hard to erode lava, is what has formed the mountains which are over in the Lake District, like Helvellyn, Scafell, sort of the Borrowdale range, and most of the mountains around there aren't volcanoes themselves, but are really hard lava rocks from those explosions 450 million years ago. Now, when you get massive explosions like that, you also have obviously a lot of ash, a lot of soot, etc. That's got to land somewhere. And a lot of it landed over here in the Northern Pennines, and specifically forming Dufton Pike and a couple of the other pikes in the area. Now, what's happened over the years is that ash has eroded away in certain places, but specific piles of it have lasted that period of time, giving this now famous cone shape. So what we're looking at is not necessarily an ancient volcano or anything like that, but just a big pile of ash which hasn't eroded. Now, 450 million years later, I'm sauntering up Dufton Pike. It'll be a 20-minute walk. I'm now half an hour away from Dufton, being grazed by belted Galloways, some of the UK's most beautiful cows. It is incredible to think, isn't it, really? But anyway, we've just got to the bottom of the really steep climb, so we better get on with it. that was a really, really steep bit sort of done. As I said, the climb on this doesn't last ridiculously long, but it's bloody steep. The only good thing is it does go up in stages. So this is kind of the first one, I'd say. Then I've got a reasonable steep bit of climbing, then another little level, it flattens out. And then the last climb is only a couple of minutes, but again, that's quite steep. So there's only a bit of snow left up here now. There's quite a lot left on the fells from the other day, but I don't think it snowed here since mostly Friday. So as you can imagine, it starts to melt away after a while. And this stuff is actually really quite slippy, which isn't making it easy, especially on steep terrain too. And these boots are kind of made for snow as well. So if you had standard walking boots on, I think you'd be struggling a bit. Oh, look at that, Dufton Pike's got a bit of sun just hitting the top of it there. Hopefully it stays there long enough for us to get up. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, and those views just extend all the way across the valley today, all the way out to the Lake District. I'll tell you what, it's actually quite rare that I purposely try and time my walks with the sunset, but oh, today though, the sun just sitting in the valley as it'll start to set over the Lake District mountains. And as I said, I kind of came from Penrith today and I actually got held up a bit there, so I'm later coming up this than I should have been. And I'll tell you what, good job I was held up, because that sunset view, that's properly beautiful. This is it now. This is the last push to the summit, and I tell you what, it's really, really slippy underfoot. You know, you can't quite see how steep this is, but I'm really having to dig in my feet into this quite deep snow just to get some grip. There we go, made it to the summit of Dufton Pike, and you can see what I'm on about when I say incredible. Because stood up here, there's no cairn to mark the top, which in itself is quite unusual actually, but for anyone to carry stones up here to put them on would be tricky at best. You've got a huge drop down into a little valley on that side, then you're looking all the way up to Carlisle, Penrith, that's Knock Pike in the middle, the sort of slightly smaller one. And then with the sun setting over in the Lake District, it really is just this little cone sticking up in the valley, and you can really feel it when you're here. Out of all the walks I've discovered locally, Dufton Pike, this one, has got to be the most, it takes your breath away. That's the best way to describe it. Especially on a day like today, when you can see the Howgills, the Dales, the Pennines, the Lake District. And you know what, I'm convinced if you look up far enough, you can see the Scottish border today as well, because it's not massively far away, I guess. How utterly spectacular. Right, so I would have normally do my outro at the top of whatever I've got to, but I have come down Dufton Pike because it was really quite cold stood at the top. There's no wind down here, but obviously that's kind of the highest point for a bit of a stretch across the valley, so the wind was just hitting, and it's ice cold today. It really is ice cold. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, come and do Dufton Pike. It's a brilliant walk. It's about 2 hours all in all and achievable for, you know, pretty much anyone. It's a steep climb, don't get me wrong, but challenge yourself. Come out, give it a go. You will not regret it. If you've really enjoyed the videos today, like, subscribe, share, do all the things that you can possibly do to a YouTube video. Add it to a playlist, I don't know, get bizarre, send it to someone by email. We don't do that anymore. Email it to someone, who knows? And I'll see you in the next video.